and the winner of the 2012 Queensland White Pages Community and Government Award is Carolyn Devries.
What a truly amazing experience it's been to be involved in this awards. I just wanted to thank everyone involved in putting on this event, Telstra and all of the sponsors, particularly the White Pages who sponsor this category. Earlier today, I was reflecting on the experience, and for me, the highlight has been having the opportunity to hear the inspiring stories of the finalists. It's not surprising that this has been my highlight because I've always had a love of stories. Although I love to read and listen to stories, I've never had a natural gift for storytelling. However, given today's events, I feel that it's fitting that I turn the table, put on the storyteller's hat, and take the opportunity to share with you an abridged version of one of my favourite stories. Imagine a young lawyer, recently out of law school, is offered a position at a law firm. Her dream is to help families who are going through difficult situations such as separation, divorce, and the loss of a loved one. On the first day at the office, she hangs her certificates on the wall, places her dog-eared textbooks on the empty shelf, and looks around her new office with an unshakable feeling of optimism. She feels that this is the place where she will fulfill her dreams. That same day, across the city, a woman walks down the front stairs of the home that she has lived in with her husband of 39 years. Overcome with sadness and regret, tears stream down her face, but she knows that this is the right decision. The abuse started shortly after they were married, and she can endure it no longer. Now the children are grown up, she knows that it's time to leave. Shortly after the woman leaves, her husband commits suicide. The woman walks into the law firm where the young lawyer has recently started work. The young lawyer makes the woman a cup of tea and offers a listening ear, and an initial bond is formed. The woman is still very emotional, however, and she's not ready to share her full story. The young lawyer sits down with the senior partner to ask how she can help the woman work through her emotion and share her story. The senior partner simply says, "I don't have time for this amateur psychology stuff. Give her a couple of tissues. Tell her to go outside and pull herself together and to come back when she is calmed down and ready to talk." The young lawyer disregards the partner's advice and instead follows the leading of the still, quiet voice within that says, "Be a friend to her, give her time, comfort her, listen to her." At the next consultation, the young lawyer acts on this. Again, she makes a cup of tea and sits with the woman. The young lawyer tells the woman that she's been thinking about her and gives her a book about moving forward after loss. The young lawyer also reminds the woman that she is there for her when she feels ready to share. Eventually, with the help of the young lawyer, the woman works through her grief and pain, and her legal situation is resolved. A few months later, a middle-aged father comes into the office. He needs help because his partner has moved interstate with their children, and he hasn't seen them for 4 months. The young lawyer helps the father, and he is able to see his children again. The young lawyer calls the father the day after he was due to see the children, just to see how everything went. The phone rings out, time and time after time, and the young lawyer is worried. She eventually talks to the father, and he sadly explains that the visit with the children didn't go ahead. The day before he was due to see the children, the bank repossessed his car. He had fallen behind on the payments because he had been putting all of his income toward his legal fees. The young lawyer sat on the phone and cried with the father. A few weeks later, the young lawyer heard the senior partner boasting loudly on the phone that the firm had made a $250,000 profit in the last 3 months. The young lawyer heard the still quiet voice within, "This isn't fair, it isn't right." One evening, the young lawyer sat in her office with her head in her hands, feeling frustrated and despondent. She felt that the reality of practicing law was very different to the dream that she had when she first became a lawyer. As she signed her daily billing record, checking that she had met the target set by the senior partner, she came to the sad realisation that practicing law seemed to be more about profit than it was about people. The young lawyer decided to talk to a friend from law school about how she was feeling. The young lawyer initially felt consoled. Her friend shared that she also felt frustrated and jaded with the profession at times. After hearing about her friend's similar experience, the young lawyer felt inspired and said, "We need to do something. We need to try to change the attitudes within the profession and the way that services are provided." The young lawyer's friend shrugged her shoulders and dismissed the suggestion, saying, "I think we just have to get used to it. The legal profession has always been like that, and probably always will be like that." These words dampened some of the young lawyer's inspiration, but it didn't fade out completely, the still, quiet voice. Don't sell out. Don't conform to the practices around you. Seek justice. The young lawyer realised that the way forward lay in challenging the perception that family law and estate law services should be provided on a purely commercial basis. Instead, there needed to be a model of practice where the voices listened to were those of the clients rather than those of the investors. The young lawyer began to conceptualise the non-profit law practice, a law practice with a difference, where there was no shareholders or partners seeking a financial return or gain. A law practice where people's painful legal experiences were not treated as a commodity. A law practice where lawyers freed from the pressure of shareholders and partners had the flexibility to take the time to respond to the client's practical and emotional needs, as well as their legal needs. The part of the story about how the young lawyer came to the conclusion that the non-profit law firm was possible and feasible is actually another story in and of itself, and a story for another day. However, suffice to say, after much research and investigation, breakthrough came, and the young lawyer found that the non-profit law firm was possible and was feasible, and provided a way of practicing that was consistent with the dream she had to truly help people. The young lawyer experienced a wave of excitement when the breakthrough came, but she also felt a weight of responsibility. Was she really courageous and brave enough to pioneer such a groundbreaking change within the profession? As she contemplated, that still, quiet voice within surfaced again. You have to. If you don't, maybe no one will. The young lawyer decided that she would take a stand for her dream. She would quit her job and establish the first non-profit law firm in Australia. She first shared the news of her decision with family and friends. Some of them voiced their support, saying that they would help however they could. Others voiced their concerns, saying that given the current financial situation, it was not a time to be quitting a job and pursuing a pipe dream. The young lawyer listened to their various views. However, ultimately she listened to the still, quiet voice within. Follow your heart, pursue your dream, have faith. The young lawyer wasted no time after resigning from her job. She set about establishing the first non-profit law firm. She took on every task with a passion and a vigour she never knew existed. She found directors to sit on the board. She completed the registrations with the various regulatory bodies, and she secured office space. As she carried out all these tasks, the young lawyer regularly listened and followed the leading of the still, quiet voice within. After 2.5 months of hard work, the non-profit law firm was no longer an idea, it was a reality. As the young lawyer turned over the sign on the front door of the office, from closed to open, she felt a mixture of excitement, pride and relief. Her husband, standing with her, turned to her and said, "I'm proud of you." She also heard the still, quiet voice within, "Well done." The end of this story is in fact the beginning of a whole other story, which I hope you will hear another time. However, for those of you who don't like suspense, I can tell you that 3 years on, after much hard work, many highs and lows, the young lawyer looked around the office and could hardly believe it was the same place. Instead of being in the office all alone, she was surrounded by a team of 13 staff and volunteers committed to caring for and supporting people going through difficult legal situations. Instead of there being empty filing cabinets, the filing cabinets were filled with the voices of over 600 people who had been helped through difficult legal situations. Later on, the young lawyer replicated the model and opened a further office. According to an old Native American saying, it takes 1,000 voices to tell a single story. In the story that you've just heard, which you've probably guessed by now is my personal story, this is certainly true. There have been the inspiring, encouraging, and supportive voices of my family and friends, and at other times there have been the less encouraging and supportive voices. I am grateful and thankful for all these voices, as they have all been significant and have all influenced my story so far. Although these voices around me have been enormously important, it is the still, quiet voice within that has always been the most important and influential voice in my story. Each one of us has that still, quiet voice within that guides us and impels us towards our hopes and dreams. For some of us, we call this voice our wisdom or intuition. Others still refer to it as their willpower or determination. Others again call it their conscience or moral compass. For me, though, this voice is the voice of my God and my Creator, a God who created me and predestined me with specific dreams and desires. A God that directs me and guides my path toward these dreams. A God that always encourages me, enables, and empowers me to achieve these dreams. A God that never gives up and never fails me. In my daily walk, it is the voice of my God that I strive to put above all other voices, for I know that it is the voice of love and the voice of truth in a sometimes frantic and unpredictable world. I know that in many ways my story has just started and that there's a lot left to play out. I know that there are going to be many moments of success and triumph, but I also know that there are going to be many more challenges and obstacles, and there are many times when I will make mistakes. And I know for sure and certain that there's a mountain more of hard work ahead in order to achieve the dreams that are in my heart. But I'm confident that if I listen to the voice of my God, the still quiet voice within me, more than I listen to the other voices around me, the rest of my story will be as amazing as the first half.